Texas football is not back. I just wanted to get that out of the way real quick. I'll be talking about Texas football today. And I am a huge A&M fan. And if you have clicked off after I said that, I would not blame you. But I'm going to be as unbiased as possible in this, and I feel like I will do the solid job on that. And I'm talking about their future for about like roughly 10 minutes, and I'm gonna do a quick little breakdown on why I think this program is stuck in a rut, and why I feel like this rebuild's gonna take a minute, and why I also feel that Steve Sarkisian should still be the head coach. I still think that Tom Herman being fired was a mistake. I think he was building something roughly. Now, there's still a part of me that still thinks that Sarkisian is a coordinator at heart. Yeah, I could be wrong in this, but I'm not one to quickly fire a guy. I don't know what he's like in the locker room. I don't know anything of that nature. I still think he can recruit. I think Sark effect is something that people make fun of all the time, but I mean, A&M had Gig'em Gang, which I think is just as funny. It's something to get recruits behind, and it's a thing to say to get recruits behind, right? But I just repeated myself, but I feel like Sark should be given a chance. Now, was there some hires that are bad? I won't talk about the stripper and the monkey. That, as funny as that story is, I'm not gonna laugh at the fact that a kid got hurt, and I'm gonna try to focus on what's on the field and what I see when I look at Texas football. And the problems lie deeper than what's being put out on the field. I think the boosters are way too involved in a program, and some people are like, it doesn't matter. You just gotta get the guys on the field, you play the game, and you win. That's all that matters. But when you have boosters that consistently dictate moves and it's almost like a Jerry Jones like of control, and there's a reason why Mac Brown left when he left, and I think there's problems rooted deeper within this program, and they're not going to be down forever. I mean, losing to Kansas twice in the past 2 decades, one of which being at home, is not a good look. Even Texas fans will agree with that. And a lot of people disagree with the fact that they go to the SEC saying they've been mediocre with a couple of solid bowl wins, a New Year's Six Bowl, and I think Sam Ehlinger did set them up with a great meme, and we're back. But like, the truth of the matter is this team has too much invested in it. It's like Florida State level of investment of, if not more, where they're gonna bounce back one day. They have to, right? Logically, they have to bounce back. But you keep seeing these coaches come in. I think Charlie Strong was just not a good coach. That's just the truth of it. I think Tom Herman needed a couple more years to build something, but even then, I think his play calling was rough, and he did keep them in a lot of games. And I think that the problem with the product on the field right now, I'll focus on the field for a second. I think the players aren't backed behind Sarkisian. I feel like there's some players that still felt that Herman shouldn't have left. It was a risky move to get rid of Herman. That's the truth of it. It was a risky move to get rid of him, and a lot of those players were recruited by him. And I think boosters pushed him out, and now you have Sarkisian, who's stuck with a locker room full of guys that he didn't bring in. And you're also getting rid of probably one of your more consistent quarterbacks over the past 10, 15 years, since Colt McCoy, really. And he leaves for the NFL draft. Now you're stuck with Casey Thompson and Hudson Card, one of which being a younger guy, one of it being a veteran in that program, but still he doesn't make the throws that you need him to make. And it's very obvious that Sarkisian has the offensive prowess to make this team elite. But then you have to look at the defense. And the problem with this team is it's very apparent that there's not a lot of heart. Now, I am not in that locker room, and I understand it's very bold to make that statement as a guy that isn't playing football right now, and I'm not one to tell someone that you don't have heart in this game. But as a team, as a whole, when you're not finishing halves and you're blowing leads, the life is taken out of you. And I feel that they don't have the heart in these games. There's something to say about having to come back against Kansas at home, a relatively known as a bye week for most teams. And they're due for a wake-up call when they get to the SEC. I know a lot of people think that they're going to have a smooth transition, and they could. They could hit us running. A&M was not expected to have a smooth transition, but then they got Johnny Manziel in their first year. Missouri had a couple years where they were competing in the SEC East, But it's been known that Oklahoma is going to have a smoother transition, while as Texas is very apparently in a rebuild that could be fixed. They could become a powerhouse again, and I still think they could compete at the very top. They can still recruit really well. For them still being in the race with a 5-star in Evan Stewart and Cam Dewberry in this class alone, and they're able to recruit guys like Bijan. Bijan is still one of the most incredible running backs I've ever seen, and they could still do really well next year. And Xavier Worthy is incredible wide receiver freshman. He's probably freshman of the year in my opinion. Other than Bryce Young, still really solid. Bryce Young will potentially win Heisman. I want to make a video on the Heisman race. It's kind of null this year, but I won't get into that right now. But the program at Texas needs to give Sarkisian time. That's kind of the point of this video right now. Is I understand a lot of people want him out, and he has kind of lost this locker room. I mean, you have guys recording coaches motivating guys. Like, that's not good. But then again, these aren't his guys. He didn't want these guys in here. Or these aren't the guys that he brought in. Now, if 2 years from now and he's got a couple of recruiting classes in, and this same thing's happening, or I feel that even next year, the same thing could happen. But you have to give him time like you gave Herman time. Herman was a goofball at the podium, and a lot of Texas fans accepted that, and they loved him for that. And Sarkisian has some things to fix, and it's on him right now. The seat is warm, but a lot of boosters are trying to make it like on fire, as if they don't go to a bowl this year, it's game over. And there's a very solid chance they might not go to a bowl game now. And if they struggle next year, I would give them one more year. I say with these big time programs, with all this money invested in recruiting and all these things, you got to give them at least 3 years. Unless your name is Scott Frost, and I don't know how he has a job. I'll say this right now. I won't make a Scott Frost video because I don't care enough, but how does that man have a job still? And Sarkisian's about to be on his way out. And I feel like they're going to give him a chance. They have way too much money invested in this. Like, I keep saying that, but like, it's the University of Texas. It's the truth of it. And if they're going to come in, they're going to go head-to-head with A&M. And it's not like Big 12 A&M anymore. A&M has so much money and recruiting momentum, and they've been in the SEC for upper part of close to a decade, and now you're going to go head-to-head against Bama. You still have Oklahoma. Now you have LSU. Like, they're stepping up their competition, but they have to step up themselves right now. And it's the truth, and it's a very, like, I think the boosters need to take a step back and let things run. It's concerning because this rebuild has been going on for roughly a decade. They've had their highs with the Sugar Bowl, and shout out, that was a good win. And Sam Ehlinger is probably one of the most prized possessions for all of Texas football. But it's time to move on, and it's time to at least let Sarkisian get a chance. Everyone's looking at Nick Saban. He lost to ULM his first year, and I don't think Sark's going to be Nick Saban. because he's still got a lot of things to figure out on defense. Everyone's talking about Sarkisian on the offensive end, but at the end of the day, coming in the SEC, you got to have a defense, and they're not physically ready for this. Oklahoma's not physically ready for this. The SEC, like, as much as people, like, if they went to the Big Ten, they wouldn't be ready for the physical prowess. The Big 12 is a air raid, lightning speed league, and it can get you to the playoff, but it can only get you to the first round, and that has been apparently obvious in these past couple years. And now, coming to the SEC, if Oklahoma gets a defense, watch out, because they've always had an offense. And they for the early part of the 2000s, they had a great defense, and it was from like 2005 to 2015, it's always, even now, it's always been lightning offense, let the defense recover. I mean, there's a reason why we see Tech and Oklahoma go 70-55 with Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield. That doesn't happen often in the SEC, other than A&M LSU in a 7 overtime. I say give Sarkisian some chance. He still can get this locker room fixed up and a lot of the weeds out. That's what a lot of true Texas fans feel. They feel like they can get the weeds out. Now, they do feel that Herman wasn't given a fair chance. Or not a fair chance, an extended chance. But I would still say Sarkisian could still turn this program around. And if not, on to the next hire. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. I like doing college football and NFL and NBA content. I'm recording a bunch of videos right now. My voice is killing me. But comment down if you want me to talk about your favorite program or your favorite team, and I'll try to fit in my busy college schedule. Thank you so much.